and gentlemen, we are your tour guide, Yewon-ho and Hyunji Lee. We are at Jingwan Temple. Jingwan Temple was built in the 11th century, about 1,000 years ago, and it is located in the edge of Seoul Bukhan Mountain.
Actually, we live near Jingwan Temple, so we came here as your tour guide.
The small building you're looking at is Chilseong-ga. It was made to worship the god of Big Dipper.
But the reason why we came to Jingwan Temple is to find out its valuable treasure. So, let's go back to 1919 to find that treasure!
Korea was under the Japanese rule during the colonial era in 1919. At the time, Koreans were very discriminated. Also, Japan imprisoned and monitored the people who participate in anti-Japanese movement.
One night in 1919, when the surveillance was very severe, there was a secret movement captured in Jingwan Temple. Someone was hiding a bag in Chilseong-ga. That someone was neither a thief nor an assassin.
It was a great Buddhist monk picked tour of Jingwan Temple. Then, what do you think he was hiding at Chilseong-ga?
The answer revealed 90 years later in May 2009. At the time, Chilseong-ga was having a reconstruction. By chance, carpenters found a bag in the corner. It was like,
Hey Lou, what is this old bag?
did you find it at that corner?
There was the old Korea's national flag, taegukgi, and a bundle of newspapers. It looked shabby, but it was actually a historic treasure.
But why are these papers such an important thing?
A bundle of newspapers are the secretive documents regarding Korea's independence. There were even some newspapers that was handed down only by rumors.
Also, this taegukgi is different from the modern taegukgi. If you look at this old taegukgi, you can see that the corner is a little bit burnt. And this taegukgi is the first well-shaped taegukgi of Korea. In fact, this taegukgi was used in the independence movement of Korea. This movement was started in March 1st, 1919 in Seoul and spread throughout the whole country. It was a peaceful protest arguing Korea's independence from Japan. More than 2 million people shouted hooray for independence without any weapons against the guns and swords of Japanese army.
Also, Jingwan Temple's taegukgi showed that Jingwan Temple was the secret base of independence movement. This means injured independence activists had rest and exchanged weapons and information at here. Then, who had bravely brought taegukgi under much suppression?
It was Monk Baek-chol. He was a brave Buddhist independence activist. Although he was imprisoned and tortured several times, but he shouted, "How can you guys deprive our country and walk around so shamelessly?" to the Japanese police.
But miserably, he had ended his life in Cheongju prison 1 year before the Korea's independence.
Now, let's go back to taegukgi story. This taegukgi is very special. It is drawn on the Japanese flag.
Is it because there was no paper?
Nope, that's not the answer. Drawing taegukgi on Japanese flag means Korea will press down Japan and be independent proudly. Monk Baek-chol said, "I can draw taegukgi on Japanese flag, but it is impossible to draw Japanese flag on taegukgi." Also, this taegukgi can represent the spirit of the nation's struggle.
However, the reason why Monk Baek-chol hid this taegukgi in Chilseong-ga is to conceal his independence activity. Actually, this taegukgi is not famous or fancy. Jingwan Temple's taegukgi had been hung on the street of Korea's Independence Day, but people called the police because they thought it was dirty and ruined. Also, many people didn't know what this ruined taegukgi means. However, the reason why we introduced this taegukgi is to tell and remember the touching story of taegukgi and our history. Plus, to thank to the independence activists like Monk Baek-chol.
Thank you for listening.